How y'all doing today? Let's get started here. Are we online or are we not? Okay. I'm trying out this new space here at my place, guys, and this is all new for me, okay? But we'll make it work. So today's live subject is Brazilian jazz, and basically we are going to talk about Brazilian jazz. Yeah. So the idea behind Brazilian jazz is basically this: we're going to apply the bebop directive, the bebop rules of melodic execution to Brazilian grooves. So how's that gonna be? Alexi, hey man, how are you? So basically I'm gonna get ourselves a groove here and talk about the bebop over the Brazilian groove. So first let's talk about the bebop idea, okay? The idea behind bebop is really this: we're going to always target chord tones 1, 3, and 5. And by targeting, I mean approximating with the neighboring tones. What are the neighboring tones? The leading tone is the note that's behind the target tone, half step behind. So if we're talking about A minor, what are the chord tones of A minor? 1, 3, and 5? A, C, and E. So you got 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. So you've got these chord tones right here. And we're going to target them by doing the leading tone to each one. So we're going to get this. Okay, that's the beginning. And then once we... hey, Jesse. Greetings from Brazil. So we got the leading tone going to every chord tone. And then we have the upper neighbor, which is the next tone of the scale. So if I'm talking about the 1, the next tone of the 1 from the 1 is the 2nd or the 9th. The next tone from the minor 3rd is the perfect 4th, right here. The next one from the 5th is the flat 6th, and so on. So you got these neighbors here. Okay. So the first thing we learn about bebop is doing encapsulation. What does encapsulation mean? It means surrounding a target content, surrounding a target note with the lower neighbor and the upper neighbor. So the first example of encapsulation is this: leading tone, upper neighbor, and target. So we got that. I'm gonna have to get a nail file real quick because I just glued my nail. Okay, so here we are. Alex, what's up, Alex? So let's keep that thought going about the encapsulation. That's the key of bebop. The science behind the art of bebop is all about encapsulating chord tones. So we're talking about this: leading tone, upper neighbor, and target. So we're gonna apply this to the bone, Alex. We're gonna apply this to every chord tone. So we got 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Encapsulation. That's the idea, okay? Again, guys, let me know how the sound is, if I need to adjust anything. But again, there's too much street noise out there. Let me close this window. Again, this is the first time that I'm doing this in this new studio, this place that I set up in my house for doing lives and recordings. Actually, just yesterday I released a video, last night I released a video on Brazilian jazz, showing a phrase and explaining that phrase. So if you guys want to check out the subject, feel free to check the last video from the YouTube channel. The sound is great. Okay, thank you, Machek. Nice to see you again here, man. Rodrigo Herbert. Ei, Rodrigão, beleza, cara? Vamos falar de bebop. So that's the encapsulation idea. One more time. And then you do the opposite, which is first the upper neighbor and and then the leading tone, and finally the target tone. So it becomes this. Okay, so that's the first part. Okay, now let's talk about bebop on a broader view of bebop. When we talk about bebop on a broader view, we're also talking about the modal approach, which means we're going to also target color tones. So if you're on A, you can also target the ninth, you can target the fourth, you can even target the sixth, as long as you resolve it down to the fifth. So we're going to play the whole scale now. We're going to use chromatic tone connections in the scale, okay? The rule for this is that the chromatic tone may never get the downbeat. The chromatic tone must always get the upbeat. So I'm going to play the scale for A minor first. That's the A minor scale, okay? Now I'm going to target I'm going to connect these notes chromatically. So I'm going to have this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? I cannot keep going like this. Because if I keep going, I'm going to fall on a major third, which is not the right note. So I have to take a break here. Da-dee-da, ba-da-da. That's the beginning of bebop right there. You have to wait so that you restart the scale playing the chord tone on a downbeat or the scale tone on a downbeat. And so the chromatic tone is going to get the weak part of the beat. So it's like this. So I got this da-da-dee or ba-da-dee. And now from here on I can go straight because I get da-dee, da-da-da. These notes, the minor third, the fourth, and the fifth, they are one whole step apart. You can see? So you can connect them chromatically all the way through. And the downbeat is always going to fall on the scale tones. Ba, 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 ba. So it's going to be like this. Ba, 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 ba. Or 1, 2. And now here I'm going to have to wait again, because if I keep going, I'm putting the major 6 on the downbeat, and that's wrong. This scale is Aeolian scale, it's a flat 6. So I'm going to have to wait. So I can connect these two notes. So it becomes this. See, I'm always putting the downbeat, a scale tone, and then the chromatic always gets the upbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here from the 6th all the way to the tonic, I get whole step, so I can fill in with the chromatic, and I get another whole step from the 7th to the tonic. I can put another chromatic in there. So I got this. And from here on I can continue. Right? 7, tonic, 9. This is an exercise that my teacher, back when I was living in the States and I was pursuing the jazz studies degree, my teacher used to make me play, and I had to say the interval that I was playing every time I touched my foot on the floor as I was tapping my foot. So if I did that here, I have tonic, 9, 3rd, 4th, 4, 5, or tonic, 9, 3rd, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, or 9. So you see, I'm always placing the scale tones on the downbeat and the chromatics upwards. The chromatics get the weak part of the beat, which is and. These ands, they are the upbeat and they are the weak part of the beat. They are the part that your ear doesn't really pick out. So you have to make your musical discourse, your musical speech, always being aware of the downbeats and what notes you put on the downbeat and what note you put on the upbeat. So let's build phrases now. Let's see, I'm just following the comments here. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna start building phrases, okay? And then later on, once we get good at building these phrases, we're gonna start applying them to Brazilian grooves and some Brazilian accents and Brazilian 16th note interpretation. Because in jazz, the 16th note interpretation kind of sounds like a triplet. That's in jazz. In Brazilian, it's it's a different feel, a different 16th note interpretation. So we're going to apply the bebop thought to this kind of subdivision later on. So first, let's build a phrase now, thinking about the bebop style. I'm going to build a phrase on A minor. It could be something like this. Okay, so what did I just do? I did this. That's a little thing that I like to do. I do a slide from the 5th down to the leading tone and back up. And then I respond up. That's a great little phrase you can use, just that little particle right there. You can always use that as a melodic tool. So I did. Now notice here, this is the thing I just spoke about. Is happening here. I have the downbeat on the 9th, the upbeat on the chromatic, and the downbeat on the tonic. So I got this. Notice that I put this note again. I'm repeating it. Why am I repeating it? So I can make time. I can wait for the time to follow this note on the downbeat so I can connect it. If I had not played this note again, it would have been like this. And that's bad because this note is getting the downbeat now. Your ear hears it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. See? That sounds odd. So I do. I repeat that. Now your ear likes it because the chromatic note, the wrong note, which is not really wrong, it got the up part of the beat, so it doesn't become a wrong note. So let's continue that phrase. Now here is upper neighbor and chord tone resolution. See, I got the 6th on the weak part of the beat, and the 5th on the strong part. So the phrase becomes, and now, I got here the relationship between upper neighbor and chord tone. This is a very important thing for you to be able to do, is do a whole scale. This is what we would call exotonic scale. It's a scale of 6 notes. Basically, it is made of 3 chord tones and 3 upper neighbors. So you got chord tones, tonic, 5th, and 3rd. And the upper neighbor is the upper neighbor. So this is a very important way for you to practice. Rather than practicing a scale, the scale doesn't really bring out the sound of the chord. Now the exotonic scale does, because you're always doing the upper neighbor on the weak part of the beat and the resolution on the downbeat. So you got this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Very important way to practice. Again, a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very important way to do it. Here at the end, I did an encapsulation. So I hope you guys are getting these examples there. Hey, yo, Bob, what's up? Glad you're here, man. Talking about bebop applied to Brazilian music. So we're talking about the bebop language here, how to approach the chord tones. So I'm showing the example with the upper neighbors, always getting the upbeat and the downbeat going for the chord tones. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm always going. So always putting the upper neighbors on the upbeat. So what your ear is really picking out is this. Because the upper neighbor on the upbeat doesn't really do much, doesn't really matter, because your ear doesn't pay attention to what's on the upbeat. Or see what I mean? Okay, now I'm going to keep going on that phrase I did. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's work on another example. You guys are welcome to ask questions, okay? I'm just going to keep going, but if you guys have any questions or suggestions, we'll talk about it. Now let's do an upward movement phrase, okay? So something like this. Let's see what just happened here. This is 1, 2, 3. So far we're good because the downbeats are taken by the chord tones. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Sharp 4. That's the leading tone. The sharp 4 is announcing that my target is going to be the 5th. But instead, I abort that resolution and I go for an encapsulation. So I got this. Okay? In this case here, I know that I put the flat 6 on a strong beat. And that is okay as long as you immediately resolve it. So what your ear is hearing is this. Okay? So that's the idea behind bebop, is really paying attention to who gets the downbeat, who gets the upbeat. So going on this phrase, now here I did what I call an arpeggio encapsulation. I'm on the 5th and I'm aiming for the tonic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack up thirds from this 5th here. I got the 5th. I'm going to play a third up, which is the leading tone to the tonic. And then another third up. So it's like I got a dominant triad. E major. And then it resolves to A. So I got this. And I did again, encapsulating the tonic. That's upper neighbor, leading tone, target. So that's the first exercise we just did, remember? I did it for all notes. So again to the phrase. I hope you guys are following me with this phrase. You guys are welcome to pick up your guitar or your piano or whatever and follow me. Andrés Araya. Hey, hola. ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenido. Entonces, so then we keep going. Okay, so how about that? That's the encapsulation of the tonic. And then later, I decided to just approach the third by upper neighbor. That's the upper neighbor getting the upbeat, and then resolving downbeat on the chord tone. So again, that's a great little phrase for a minor chord. Again, a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you hear me that? And that's what it was. Nice phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. Upbeat, anything. But preferably encapsulating notes so that we can go from chromaticism to chord tone. Yeah, well, the upbeat, usually you want to keep it for the upper neighbors. But if you are thinking about bebop in a broader sense, including the modal approach, which is when you also aim on the downbeat for scale for extensions, which is 2nd, 4th, 6th, then you go for the chromatic because now you need to connect these scale tones, the color tones, to the chord tones. Again, guys, let me just review that. Color tones are 2, 4, and 6. Chord tones are 1, 3, and 5. Okay, so that's when you use the chromatic. So now let's add a little chromaticism to this phrase here. So far we haven't done that, so let's do that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. So how about this? As soon as we get here, we take that breath that I told you before. You have to wait so that you start on the next note on the downbeat. Right there. It's like a ghost note. Ghost. It's a little wait. And this is a key aspect of the bebop language because this waiting is exactly what you need in order to execute this correctly. If you hadn't waited, what would have happened? This. That's wrong because you're getting the flat 9 on a strong beat. So in order not to have this, 3 and 4 and you do. You gotta wait so that you land on the 9th on the downbeat and the chromatic goes upbeat and the tonic goes downbeat. So now let's add that to the phrase and it's gonna be this. See, I even pulled off a string here. You can use that little trick. There's a little guitar trick for bebop, guys. That little wait it's gonna be usually on the upbeat because you're waiting for the downbeat, right? So the upbeat, you can, like my check just said, you can do anything. So in this case here, I'm doing an open string. So I got this. So again, I got a comment here. You like that so much, you might need to transcribe your own stuff. You did that once, transcribing your own stuff. Just to check. Major scale, 1, 3, 5. Chord tones, 7, 9, 13. Major scale, 1, 3, 5 chord tones. Yeah, 7, 9, 13 color tones. 4th, 11, the cursed tone. No. 4th and 11 is also a extension or color tone. You can always add a 4th to a minor chord, no problem. And to a major chord, better add a sharp 4. But if it's a dominant, the perfect 4th works fine as well. Sorry, formatting errors there. Okay, no problem. So let's run this phrase again. This is a great bebop example. And my tendency here, after doing this, would be doing this. This is that exotonic scale. Upper neighbor, chord tone. Upper neighbor, chord tone. Upper neighbor, chord tone. This must be a practice for you guys. You guys haven't done this, should do it every day. I do this a lot, practicing stuff like this. That's upper neighbor, chord tone, upper neighbor, chord tone. It's like transforming a scale into a phrase. You know, if you just play a scale randomly, it's not going to be a phrase. It's going to sound bad. But if you arrange it this way, by choosing 6 notes, which are 1, 3, 5, and their upper neighbors, 2, 4, and 6, then you got this scale that really sounds like a chord, which is this again. Okay? But instead of doing that, let me make sure I keep following your comments here. Instead of doing this, here, instead of doing this, let's go for a more bebop chromatic phrase. We ended up here. That's where we're at. Now let's do this. Let's play with these chromatics here between the 7 and the minor 6. We're gonna do. That's a great little phrase. What I'm doing is I'm putting the chromatic, which is a major 6 that doesn't even belong to the scale. That's why it's chromatic. And I'm putting it on the upbeat so I can resolve to the 7, 3 and 4. So I got the 7, got the downbeat, and that's fine. And now, so that chromatic note got the upbeat twice. And that's exactly where you want to put it. That's how you want to deal with this. So, and now, that's the phrase. I got chromatic, chord tone, chromatic, scale tone, flat 6. And remember what I said about the flat 6. If you place the flat 6 on a strong beat, you must immediately resolve. So I did. I resolved on the downbeat here at the 5th. To make sure it got on the downbeat, I had to make time to fill in the space, and I did that with a leading tone to the 5th. So the phrase is. So now let's add everything up and see how it sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So again, a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that I hear the phrase, actually I should do this. Again. I would like to do. I'm going to do a wait there. Why did I do the wait? Because I want to approach the 5th from below, but I want to start on the 4th, which is a scale tone. It's chromatic between the 4th and the 5. So the scale tone must get the downbeat. The chromatic, the upbeat, and the chord tone, the downbeat. So this takes me to invite you to do a very important exercise if you're not understanding what I'm saying here. This very important exercise for the bebop language is this. You're going to find all scale tones in the A minor scale that are a whole step between each other. So that works for the tonic and the 9th or 2nd, between the 3rd, minor 3rd and 4th, 4th and 5th, and then between the 6th and the 7th, okay? And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a pickup chromatic note towards the scale tone or chord tone, and then move that back, like that. So that is like little words that you're gonna use in your jazz improvisation. So here's the exercise. I'm gonna start down here on the tonic. So I'm going to start like this. And then between the 7th and the 6th. And then between the 5th and the 4th. Between the 4th and the 3rd is. And now we must give ourselves a beat, so this makes sense. It must sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty cool, huh? Or see, I'm always putting the chromatics on the upbeats. That's a great way to practice this. Again, let me show you this. Guys, this is, in my humble opinion, I think this is very important information, and you guys should take advantage of this, because if you were to pay for this, it would cost expensive money. So you guys make sure to take advantage of this time and of every Friday live. Again, every day, every Friday, every week at this moment, I'm going to be meeting you all to talk about whatever. You guys can even suggest topics. This is a topic that I really enjoy, but you can suggest topics for next week. And we got a new question here. Could you do a similar thing with major chord tones? Absolutely. You can do it with any chord. This exercise works in any scale, and the idea is to put the scale tones on the downbeats and the chromatic tones on the upbeats. And you can't really do that unless you practice it. Just 1 second, guys. Não pode vir aqui para trabalhar, tá bom?
É porque como que é o meu nome assim?
Eu já vou te ajudar. Bom, meu amor, eu não posso ajudar agora. Agora eu não posso, tá? All right, guys, sorry about that. So here we go. Again, connecting chord tones or scale tones with chromatic. Let's do that again. That's one part. And then again. And like I said before, this exercise makes no sense if you don't have a beat, because the whole point of this is putting the scale tones on the downbeat and the chromatic tones on the upbeat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay. When you do this, what your ear is really picking out is this. Or you're hearing the scale. So the scale sounds a lot closer to the chord than random notes, right? What you don't want to do is put chromatics on downbeats unless it's a leading tone. Only the leading tone can be put on the downbeat, because then it's called a delayed resolution. That is this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. See? Or see? I resolve the downbeat on the leading tone, but then I immediately resolve it. So the leading tone is the only chromatic note that can get the downbeat. So let me play another phrase. Let's go for something else here. Do you guys got any questions? Felipe, thank you so much for this. These are great ideas for my daily practice for upcoming week. It's a boost. Great. I'm glad I can be of help. So, okay, remembering you guys that just last night I put on a video on YouTube on Brazilian jazz, where I made a phrase, a more complex phrase, and then I try to play it in a Brazilian feel. Since this is the subject of the life, let's start going there. I'm going to now try to imply a Brazilian feel and play lines over a 1-6-2-5 progression. Since we're in A minor, let's make that 1-6-2-5 in the minor. So that would be this: A minor, F major, B half diminished, and E dominant. So in order to put it in a Brazilian groove, let's play the samba jazz. The samba jazz is one of the rhythms that I explain. Very easy rhythm that I explained in the course Secrets of Brazilian Guitar, which is available at the Udemy. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, Udemy or Udemy. Let me write that here for you guys. Or I can't write. Can I write it? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna write here for you guys the name of the platform where you can find this course, Secrets of Brazilian Guitar. I do the samba jazz, which is simply this. Little rhythm that is based on the syncopation. Why is the syncopation? Syncopation basically is the upbeats. You're always grabbing the strings here, the chords on upbeats, and you're playing with the basses, either on downbeats, Or you can also work up the bass like this with anticipations. And this is the progression. Now we're going to apply over this. I'm going to play just some lines, okay? And I'm going to try to make this Brazilian accent. Notice this. That 4th, 16th note. Always gets an accent. That's very different from the jazz style of 16th note, which is da 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 da. In Brazilian, it's ta 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 ta. It's a very different approach rhythmically, a very different type of swing. So I'm going to try to apply this thought for a second here and see if you guys come up with any questions for me. I'm gonna improvise a little bit over these 4 chords. That's A minor, F major, B half diminished, E dominant, and so on. It's not too easy to accompany yourself with basses and harmony while you're soloing, but these ideas are very useful, especially a lot easier to use if you are playing with an accompaniment. If you're playing with other musicians, just a bass player will do it. It's great to just play with a bass player because he'll be giving you the roots and you don't have to worry about filling in with chords or basses. But that's the idea behind the Brazilian jazz. It's basically thinking bebop, but giving it another groove rather than the swing style, right? Do you guys got any questions so far? Okay, thank you, Bob. Thank you for that encouragement. I wasn't too happy with what I just played, but let's try to make it now on major. Let's address the question from, okay, Alexi asked something. If you do leading tone on downbeat, then you resolve to the target on upbeat? Yes. You would resolve to the target on the upbeat, and there's no problem, you know. You can actually, if you're talking about 16th notes and you follow on the leading tone on the downbeat, the chord tone is going to get the second 16th note. But that's fine, it works fine. You can rest on it if you want, you can stop subdividing, but ultimately your ears are going to tell you what sounds good. Your ears are the ultimate teacher, especially if you listen to great players and then you come to your own instrument. You'll have sort of it's going to be in your subconscious, the bebop lines. So a great way to learn this is by just trying it and letting your ears guide you. Okay, nice to be here. Yeah, David or Davi, I'm not sure where you're from, but welcome. So let's talk about the same idea of the Brazilian jazz over a 1/6-5 in the major key, because I got that question just above. From Dan, he said, could you do a similar thing with major chord tones? So let's go for C major. Okay, so we got the C major, and then 1/6-5, the 6 would be A minor, but let's go ahead and make it the 6 as a 5 of 2. So we got a Phrygian dominant here, as an A7, going to the D minor, going to a G7. So if this was jazz, it would be something like this. for the Brazilian style, Brazilian jazz, you keep the same harmonic and melodic thought, just change the groove. The Brazilian groove, like I said before, tak, tika, tak, tika, tak, tika, tak. Hello from Greece, hello from Brazil. I can't really read that name, I'm sorry, I don't know how to read those letters, but welcome. So here's the Brazilian groove on 165 on C major. One Brazilian groove, it's not the Brazilian groove, but it's one way to groove in the Brazilian language. We got this. Now the lines. Right now, just using the leading tones like this. That's for C. C major. And as you arrive on A7, you go. Now I'm targeting the A7 tones, tonic and third, and using the leading tone, which is half step below. For those of you who don't know yet what a leading tone is the note that lies just half step below a target tone or a chord tone, and that resolves. A leading tone, in order to fulfill its function, it must resolve. Like that. So just then I was creating a line that was doing this. D, G, C, A, D, G, C, D, G. So on, guys. There's so much to do here. It's like an infinite universe. Hit me up with some questions, guys. We could just maybe improvise on a Brazilian tune. That could be a good idea. How about no more blues? That would be a nice challenge. So we got this. sorry for the little mistakes in there, but that's the idea of improvisation, is taking chances and being ready to fix mistakes like the ones that just happened. But it's a fun thing, you know, just going for a dive and not knowing what's going to happen and not knowing if you're going to come alive on the other side. But that's the idea for today, guys. I hope you have understood what I'm trying to say here, which is applying the bebop language, the chromaticism that is natural of the bebop lines, bringing it onto the Brazilian grooves. This is a very rich plate, you know, that you can nourish yourself musically from. And I definitely, you know, advise that, checking out the bebop language as well as the Brazilian language and making that mixture. We have 10 more minutes here. I'm going to be cutting at 4:55 Brazilian time, because I do have a commitment at 5 o'clock. But you guys, be welcome to write any questions. Again, mentioning that today's live subject was also covered in the last video on YouTube, the video called Brazilian Jazz, where I show a line and I talk about it. I think the line was something like this, on A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it was something like that, but it turned out into something different just now. But I remember that I started the line on that video like this. Parker line here. There. On this, what's happening is you're approaching the fifth with leading tone, and then doing a little arpeggio that's basically made of scale tones or chord and color tones, 5, 7, and 9. And then the 9 approaches the 1 by chromatic. So you got this line on A minor, 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually, it was a 2-5-1 line. Goes to D major. But check out the video if you want to see the line. Can you quickly break down the major chord tones like you did in the minor? Sure. On a major scale, let's take an Ionian scale. The chord tones are 1, 3, and 5, right? And the color tones are 2, 4, and 6. That's for every chord. That's for everything. Half diminished, dominant chord. Color tones are always going to be the ones that are not chord tones. And the chord tones are always a triad, 1, 3, and 5. So in a major instance, you got this. That's your major chord tones, right? And then the colors or neighboring tones are the ones that lie in between. And the seventh, it's both, you know, it's both chord tone, but it also can work as a color, or it can work as a neighboring tone or a leading tone towards the tonic. But I usually don't aim for the seventh, and I've transcribed hundreds of solos or something near that. So I haven't seen them normally outline a seventh, you know, very often, unless you're using that approach that I told you, which is a modal approach as well as the tonal approach. The modal approach, you aim for color tones, so you could do something like this on the major, you know. So I'm aiming for the 7 there. The idea is just to transcribe a lot and to try a lot. Try, you know, it's trial and error. It's really the idea to develop this art. So I'm gonna play some lines here on C major and see what happens. Talking about trying to apply the Brazilian jazz or the bebop over the Brazilian style. If I had this. What if I were to improvise over C major? This is away from the idea that we're talking about here, but that's something that I like to use when I'm improvising. I like to lay notes in fourths within a scale. So it's like playing the pentatonic scale, you know, of the major chord in this case, but then always playing them in fourths. It's a pentatonic laid in fourths. So you got this. guys, we're coming to an end here. Please, any remaining questions? I'm about to close the live for the day here. We got just 5 more minutes. Yes, thank you. Sure, Dan. You're welcome. Again, guys, just letting you know, okay? We got two recent videos on the YouTube channel. One about the four of my favorite licks from Paco de Lucia. Great licks, the video is there. And the last video from last night is about Brazilian jazz, where I analyze a long phrase. Any of you guys who would like to take private lessons from me, I have openings, so be welcome to contact me for a one-on-one work on music and guitar. And we do have the Secrets of Brazilian Guitar course available at Udemy, as well as the hybrid technique available at iMusic Academy. And as a matter of fact, the 4th volume of the hybrid technique is coming up very soon. We got the video made, and it's just a matter now of rounding it up and making it available for you guys. But you're welcome to check out the website of iMusic Academy, where the hybrid technique volumes 1, 2, and 3 are now available. So if any of you guys would like to check out any of those 3, opportunities, either private lessons or the Secret of Brazilian Guitar at Udemy or udemy.com, or the hybrid technique at iMusic Academy, be welcome. And I will open up for one last question. Kevin, what's up, Kevin? So glad that you're here. As I was just saying, Kevin, I was offering the Secrets of Brazilian Guitar only with openings for groups of students, and we had an opening in August and an opening in October. But as of January, we got it available constantly. We don't have to wait for an opening, for a group of students. You can just get it anytime you want. And one promotion that we have is that if you get the Secrets of Brazilian Guitar course in the month of January, you do have the right of one free private lesson straight from me. So that would be a pleasure to get to know any of you guys who are acquiring this stuff. This is great musical opportunity. Check. Do you have an example of a bebop solo that you think is good to transcribe in intermediate level? An example of a bebop solo. I can't think of one, but anything you grab from Joe Pass, Oscar Peterson, Charlie Parker, anything you lay your hands on, just choose one. Choose one that you think is. I think for a intermediate level, you can choose something played by Joe Pass at a medium tempo. He's not a guy that needs to rip 1,000 notes every time, so he can lay it back, but still playing through the bebop language. So I would advise that. And that's it, guys. That's it for today. I'm so glad you guys are here with me. And every Friday at the same time, 4 o'clock Brazil time, I will be here for you on another live, always talking about a variety of subjects that deal with guitar and music. So again, guys, please subscribe to my channel to support my work. It's been a tough year, and that support is very welcome. Any of you guys would like, I'm repeating myself here, so I'm not going to repeat. So you heard it. This live is going to stay up on the channel if you want to rewatch it anytime soon. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you and I appreciate your support. Until next time, bye-bye.